chilly when it is too. Please join me in prayer. Dear God, we come to you today with heavy hearts to celebrate our friend Ron's passing away. And we are grieving. We know that you are the ultimate comforter and healer. And we ask for your peace and presence during this time. Give us strength to face each day and hope for the future. We know that you are with us always, and we thank you for the gift of Ron's life. Amen. I'm going to read a poem here. I felt appropriate. It's called I'm Free. Don't grieve for me, for now I'm free. I'm following the path God laid before me. I took his hand when I heard him call, and I turned my back and left it all. I could not stay another day to laugh, to love, to work or play. Task left undone must stay that way. I've found that peace at the close of day. If my parting has left a void, then fill it with remembered joy. A friendship shared, a laugh, a kiss, and yes, these things too I will miss. Be not burdened with times of sorrow. I wish for you the sunshine of tomorrow. My life's been full, I've savored much. Good friends, good times, my loved ones' touch. If my time seemed all too brief, don't lengthen it now with undue grief. Lift up your hearts, rejoice with me. God wanted me now, he set me free. Ron Eugene Meredith passed away Friday, January 5th, 2024 at his home in Alliance with his family by his side. He was 72 years of age. He was born on May 25th, 1951 in Alliance to Dean and Dorothy Hamaker Meredith of Hemingport. On June 10th of 19 in Hemingport. They were blessed with 2 children, Kyle and Amanda, or Mandy, Meredith. After graduating from Hemingport High School, he enrolled at Chadron State College. He transferred after 1 year to the tech school in Sidney, Nebraska, graduating with a degree in diesel mechanics from there. He then returned to the area and began working at the Farmer's Implement in Alliance. Even though he enjoyed working in mechanics, his true calling was farming. He proceeded to work for Kenny Luce and later Bill Koister and the Vogels in farming and ranching, raising cattle. When he retired from full-time, he continued part-time farming with Randy Benda and with Western Potato. About the only time you could get him off the tractor was to spend time with his granddaughters. From going on drives with Layton to sitting and watching cartoons with Addison and Briston, whom he dearly loved and enjoyed. He is survived by his wife, Yolanda, his son, Kyle Meredith, along with his fiancée, Sarah Hicks of Alliance, and his daughters, Amanda Meredith of Lincoln and his granddaughter, Layton Meredith of Lincoln, Addison Meredith and Briston Meredith of Alliance, and a step-grandchild, Copper Hicks, Relay Hicks, Emma Hicks of Alliance. He is also survived by his brother Gary Meredith of Chadron and nieces and nephews. He was preceded in death by his parents, Dean and Dorothy Meredith, his sister-in-law, Rosemary Meredith, mother-in-law, Juanita Garcia, sister-in-law, Rosa Garcia, and 3 brothers-in-laws. Memorial services will be Friday 19th at 10 o'clock at the United Church in Hemingport. Please be casual, and bibs are strongly welcome. So, memorials may be given to the family for future designation and may be sent in care of the family at 804 Yellowstone, Alliance, Nebraska. I said, I'm glad that you have all come to celebrate Ron's life. He was a wonderful guy. Known him for many years. Over the years, Ron and I cut up many turkeys together on Thanksgiving. And he will be missed. But let's all remember the joyful times that we had with him. He was a very special man.
God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, then go to town and stay past midnight at a meeting of the school board. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to sit up all night with a newborn colt and watch it die, then dry his eyes and say, maybe next year. I need somebody who can shape an axe handle from a persimmon sprout, shoe a horse with a hunk of car tire, who can make harness out of hay, wire, feed sacks, and shoe scraps, who planting time and harvest season will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon, and then painting from tractor back put in another 72 hours. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody strong enough to clear trees and heave bales, yet gentle enough to eat lambs and wean pigs and tend the pink-combed pullets, who will stop his mower for an hour to sprint the broken leg of a meadowlark. So God made a farmer. It had to be somebody who'd plow deep and straight and not cut corners. Somebody to seed, weed, feed, breed, and rake and disc and plow and plant and tie the fleece and strain the milk. Somebody who'd bail a family together with the soft, strong bonds of sharing. Who would laugh and then sigh and then reply with smiling eyes when his son says that he wants to spend his life doing what Dad does. So God made a farmer.
I've wrote this many times, and no words can actually express the feelings I feel for him or the right ways to describe him, so please bear with me. When the road looks rough ahead, remember the man upstairs and the word hope. Hang on to both and tough it out. John Wayne. Growing up, John Wayne played through our life lessons. Dad was a simple man, believed in simple, taken from Western movies, but that's what fit us. He taught Kyle and I what hard work is, and when life knocks you down, to get back up. He would let us hit rock bottom just to show us how strong we were to get up and try it by ourselves again. He would sit there and talk to us about our choices. He would sometimes give us his opinion, but in all reality, it was your choice to make the right one. He may have called you an idiot at times for taking so long to get there, or tell you how he would have done it afterwards. But he was always proud of us. Now we have to learn to navigate life without him. But once But when something comes up, we'll just have to take a minute and sit back and ask ourselves, what would he say or do? We may have to tell ourselves to make sure you're using your head, think logic, and don't let emotions in. Well, the emotions part, it's probably more me than Kyle, but that's right. The biggest task Kyle and I now have is making sure we install his wisdom, courage, patience, work ethic, and the love into his granddaughters. If you ever wanted to see this man emotions, you had to bring up them. They were his pride and joy, and he was extremely proud of them. He loved them with all his heart and other passions. His other passion was in the field. He was born to be a farmer. He could read the land and the weather. He was the true Nebraskan when it came to the weather. When the storm was bad, the sirens were going off. He was standing on the porch, reading the sky, always assuring us it would be okay and it's just an passing time. He had a love for animals, from cattle to our dogs. Even if you tried to be the tough one, you could always break him down with a dog. Just bring up Haas. I could honestly go on with memories of Dad, but I know he would be sitting there giving me a look right now, telling me to wrap it up and stop crying. But I am going to end with a quote of a favorite movie of his that me and him watched a lot at the end. Now remember, when things look bad and it looks like you're not going to make it, then you gotta get mean. I mean plump, mad dog mean. Because if you lose your head and give up, then neither you live nor you win. And that's just the way it is. Josie Wales.
Good morning to all of you. I'm Gary, the older brother. When Ron was in Denver, in the hospital, I talked to him one day and he said to me, I want you to do my funeral. And I thought, wow, brother. But I agreed to at least try to represent him this morning. So, here goes. I was, when he said that, then of course you get these thoughts, well, what kind of a relationship did Ron and I have? And that's a guy thing, not to do that. So I had to shift my thinking and come up with some kind of a solution. I guess we were really close, but I don't know that really played out. I don't know how it went, but I remember thinking the first thought I had was, I'm 4 years older than Ron. And when we were kids, back in grade school, I thought Ron would amount to Pillow Beach. See, my dad would let me do driving. I was the first one to learn how to drive a tractor, and I farmed. And Ron had to sit in the pickup, or maybe once in a while he could sneak in a little bit, but it was all me. So, get out of here, brother. You're a pain in the neck. Well, we went through grade school together, and then because of our difference in age, after I graduated from the 8th grade, then we never were in school together at the same time. So, he went his way and I went mine, and we were both happy with that. And then years later, I've come to find out that he turned out to be a better guy than I thought he would be. Ron had a personality. He was a kind man and loving man. But if I tell you, sometimes he could be intense, would you understand what I'm saying? In the jobs that Ron had, he worked out west of town here for Lucis for a few years, and he drugged me along with him. Me and my brother-in-law, Jerry Scott, from up on Cottonwood Creek Valley, we'd come and help do fall harvest, primarily put up silage, sometimes some other stuff we do, but we had to help Ron out there. And then when he went to Kester's, I got invited down a lot of times to help with bee harvest. And one particular year, and I don't remember what year it was, but it was a fall very much like we're having right now, lots of moisture, and whether we were going to get the beets harvested or not was a question, and that was going to be difficult. So Ron invited me down, and they had rented a 2+2 international tractor just specifically to pull trucks. And that was going to be my job, to pull trucks. The tractor had a radio in it, so I could hear whatever Ron needed to tell me. And the problem with pulling a truck through the field was you have the tow rope in front of the truck, and that puts the tractor right next to the tractor that's pulling the beets, and that's where Ron was. So I was close, I could hear him on the radio, and I could see his hand signals very visibly, and I could also read his lips. I don't know how many trucks I pulled through the field that year, but I guarantee you I did not pull one truck through the field that satisfied Ron. This is a family affair funeral today, and I'll explain that to you a little later. For the verse I've chosen to use this morning is found in Matthew 11. Starting in verse 28. I've used this verse portion of scripture before, but when Ron asked me if I'd do the funeral, then I started thinking, well, what am I going to say? What am I going to use for a Bible verse to portray what I want to say? And I went through a lot of verses, and I just couldn't find anything that really worked. And then my brother-in-law helped me, and I figured this out. That Matthew 11 says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." My brother-in-law, some time ago, a couple months ago, we were discussing by coincidence, only not necessarily coincidence, that particular verse. And I mentioned to him, I said, I really wish I had a yoke. Because it would be kind of fun to be able to demonstrate this verse that way. And he happened to have a chunk of wood that he had brought from the home place up on Cottonwood, a chunk of hickory, black hickory. Pardon me? Walnut, rather. Okay. So he decided to try and make me a yoke. And he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything until he was done, because he didn't know how it was going to turn out, I guess. Anyway, one of the things that you'll discover in life, I'm sure everybody in here understands what a burden is by now. The world has a funny way of saying, I think you need to carry a burden. An example I'd like to give to you is found in Exodus chapter 5. And this speaks of the time when the Israelites were leaving Egypt, and Moses had gone to Pharaoh and asked for opportunity to let the Israelites go. And Pharaoh said, "No, I don't think so. I still got work for you." Chapter 5 of Exodus, verse 10 to start. Then the slave drivers and the overseers went out and said to the people, "This is what the Pharaoh says. I will not give you any more straw. Go get your own straw, whatever you can find, wherever you can find it, but your work will not be reduced at all." So the people scattered all over Egypt to gather stubble to use for straw. The slave drivers kept pressing them, saying, "Complete the work required of you for each day, just as when you had straw." And Pharaoh's slave drivers beat the Israelites over the overseers and appointed and continued demanding, "Why haven't you met your quota for the bricks yesterday or today?" An example of what the world does for a burden. Keep going, do it. And the world doesn't care what this yoke looks like. Apparently it was the custom, and I'm reaching here, but it was the custom of the person in charge to provide the yoke. The world don't care. Any kind of yoke will work. Whether it fits or doesn't fit, you got to carry the burden. But Jesus in Matthew says, "Come to me, all you who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Put my yoke upon you, for my yoke is easy. And my burden," this is my burden, "is light." Now, what makes a yoke easy? This one is designed with beveled out underneath of the where it fits on the shoulders, so that the weight of whatever you're carrying goes across all your shoulders. Oh, bummer. Sorry, guys. I'm not into technology real well. Jesus is offering us an alternative to the world's yoke. "Take my yoke upon you. My burden is easy. My burden is light. My yoke is easy." When I was talking to Ron one day when he was in the hospital in Denver, he said, "Well, I sure hope that when I wake up, I'll be in heaven someday." And I said, "Ron, you can reserve a spot in heaven right now." I said, "All you got to do is come to Jesus and ask him for forgiveness of your sins." And that means, literally, understanding Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me." And when you say, forgive me my sins, that you're asking Jesus, you're saying, I understand what you're saying is true. I understand that you are the only way to get to heaven. So I'm asking you to save me. And then I said, then also, you got to ask him to come into your life and let him take control of your life. If you will, you got to hand him the keys to your life. You got to slide out of the driver's seat over into the passenger side and let him do the driving. And when I got done saying that to Ron said, I've been praying that prayer. So I believe that Ron woke up in heaven. So this is a demonstration of an easy yoke and a light burden. That's what Christ promises you and me. All right. Let me set this off. I got another verse I want to use. Oh, I know, I was going to tell you, that yoke my brother-in-law made for me, my son-in-law went to Scottsbluff one day and picked it up. Jerry brought it, they made connections, and they brought it home, and I got it for my birthday on the 3rd of January. Psalms 34, verse 8 says, taste and see the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. All right, this verse has particular meaning. One day, prior to Ron getting sick, I was down there visiting him, and he was going on, and he says, I got to figure out how to get Marge Turek to make me some more kolaches. And he said, man, they are good. Now, Ron would know what a kolache is supposed to taste like, because when we were little boys, we grew up in a neighborhood where kolaches were king, and the ladies there all knew how to make them, and Ron and I made sure we figured out how to be on the recipient side of that deal. So, as good as those kolaches are, the Lord is inviting you and me to come see, come taste, come try it on for size, and not to be fearful of it. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. Come and taste and see for yourself, you'll be blessed. How do you put that yoke on? Ron said, I've prayed that prayer. That's putting that yoke on. That's being willing to wear it, being willing to carry it. One more verse I'd like to share with you. It's found in Romans chapter 10, verse 13 is like. All right. That's what I have to share with you this morning. I believe if my instructions are correct, we're done. There's refreshments in the basement. You can visit with the family down there.
If anyone needs help in getting down to the basement, we have a lift over there. In the corner of that we can take it in.
Yes, I can't